Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Chris Garcia, video number 15. The difference between the elites and the Illuminati are that the elites are the 13th wealthiest families in the world. But the Illuminati literally includes a whole bunch of reptilians within it. That's the main difference. BlackRock isn't controlled by the elites, it's controlled by the Illuminati. God also told me that the Draconians were the people, or the aliens, who towed the moon in. Yes, they towed the moon in to be right next to the earth. Why did they do that? Because they knew it was going to screw up our oceans. They were trying to mess with us, and they wanted it to get to the point where it would cause flooding, but it never really quite did. That's why we have a moon. Read about the moon. The moon isn't real. God just told me something extremely horrible yesterday. He told me that the St. Jude Hospital for children with cancer, they do something very miraculous, and they provide free service to the parents who can't afford to pay for the services for their child who has cancer. St. Jude does everything for them at no cost. It's free of service. However, St. Jude is also owned and run by the elites, and is a front for the reptilians to be able to receive children's blood on a daily basis. That is horrible. But they're not the only one. Almost all the children cancer hospitals are that way. The Smithsonian is owned by the Catholic Church. There used to be thousands of pyramids throughout North America, and the Catholic Church went through and destroyed almost all of them. They leveled them out to their bases, and then they built churches right on top of those bases. The church also hid Hitler and many of his confidants. All his generals, all of them, they hid him in Argentina, and some of the scientists actually came out to the US, and they are now part of NASA. Crazy as that sounds, read about it. They have aliens underneath the Vatican and bones of real actual giants are held in the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian also holds bones of dragons. Dinosaurs were never real. They were made up by a couple of gentlemen who wanted to make some money back in the day, and they created this whole idea of dinosaurs. I know, I just read that article the other day on dinosaurs being discovered in Antarctica. I asked God. God says, nope, that's their front. The Russians have actually captured and own a living Bigfoot. Yeah, they are real. They move through portals. That's how they hide. The Loch Ness Monster is real too. And so, this one's weird, is the abominable snowman. The abominable snowman is in Asia. God has told me all these things. Most of the Grand Canyon is owned by NASA, and so are the interiors of the Great Pyramids of Giza and other pyramids throughout Egypt. They own the interiors of them. So when the fallen angels came to earth, and this is in the book of Enoch and other stuff, they started having sex with the local women, human women. They were told not to by God, or else they'd be punished. It ends up being that the curse they got was that they gave birth to huge giants that were easily distinguishable because of their height. They were known as the Nephilim, which it told God that they broke the rules because he saw these giants. The problem of it was he didn't know that the Nephilim would also turn out to be psychologically crazy and evil and would want to eat everything in sight, including humans. That's why he ended up trying to get rid of them through a flood. Okay? That goes back to Noah's Ark. Read the story. The fallen angels are both aliens and angels, but there's more aliens than there are actual angels. Jesus and Mary Magdalene, they never married, but had a relationship similar to a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Okay. Around the mid-'80s, Philip Morris and other various tobacco companies knew that eventually they would lose out to the public in their product being held as something that was addictive and deadly to human existence. They knew they were going to lose. So that's when they realized they could still do the same thing, but with different products. So what did they do? They're trying to figure out products that were just as bad for you to try to kill you, but were a lot easier with the general public to understand. Okay? Because they were so good, these tobacco companies ended up buying Nabisco and other treat, sweet, highly processed food companies that America will never get enough of. The same scientists that were trying to find the connection between cigarettes and addiction had now moved on to sweets and addiction and realized it was much more profitable. See, the reptilians had never tried stopping at killing us. Even when you revolt, they'll find something else that's a weakness to you to take you and your health down. They're always trying to kill you. Okay? The elites print money. They lend it to foreign nations with a high return on it. So they make shit tons of money on their return. So it's an investment on them, and it's free money. While regular normal people like you and I pay the cost of the money itself that's being printed. Okay? We pay for it. God told me somewhere out in the galaxies, the cosmos, the universe, there's another planet with humans living on it. We'll never see them, is what God told me, because he says he keeps us separate. They're more advanced than we are because they work with the aliens. The aliens know about them and us. Okay? That is today's information. This is just random stuff I get from God. I ask questions, I get answers. It's crazy. But the next thing I'll get into is I'll get into Jesus Christ and God and the aliens. And that will be one that you guys want to hear. I've kept that one to the end, but that one is amazing. But just know that reptilians are always trying to kill us. The Catholic Church knows everything, owns everything also. And you're going to find all that out in my next video.